the audio actually skipped as well. So apologies on that, folks. But yes, we got to sort out these cameras. Jack, you be okay to leave a sec, bud?
Yeah, I kind of think. I mean, it's all gone wrong, hasn't it, in the past week?
Well,
Everything's broken.
We've just revisited another potential issue, obviously with the cameras. But Jack, if you're right to join us back up now shortly, mate, I'll bring you back in.
Sure.
Legendary. Here we are, back here amongst the room now, and I'm joined by the incomparable, the amazing TRL Limitless. How you doing, my good man? You okay?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you for having me on, man.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I got to say, I've been really excited about this. Obviously, we've been flirting with the idea of a podcast for a long time here at ORL. Never quite got down to it, but now, on the grandest stage of them all, we have got the grandest man of them all, the man who leads the likes of Sauber Esports currently in the F1 Esports Pro Series. And I got to say, a man who is synonymous with esports. Obviously, we're going to be talking about that and obviously your heights rising to the top in the world of professional esports. But I sort of want to look behind that and take a look at your life growing up and maybe what sort of provoked you and pushed you into taking the route down towards YouTube and esports. I mean, talk us about your early life. Where did it all begin? Tell us your story. Where did it all start?
Yeah. So yeah, for people who don't know me, my name's James Doherty. I was born in 1992, so same age as you. So we're quite oldies now in the community.
Unfortunately, OAPs.
Yeah. For me, yeah, pretty much for, say, up until 16, didn't really have anything to do with gaming whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. I was really into sports. I was born in Essex, then I moved to Kent, where I am now, when I was like 10. And yeah, honestly, I just didn't really play many games and stuff like that. I played your occasional like Need for Speed or stuff like that now and again, and I mainly played like Call of Duty and stuff like that for fun. But it's only really until I got to university that I actually started playing it seriously, which is probably a bad time to do it. Yeah, my second year.
You got to have a crutch though through education, surely though. Yeah, it just sort of gets you.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that got me through it, pretty much. But yeah, my first year I didn't really play anything at all. But then in my second year, I just started playing up. I've always been to Formula One for a start. Yeah, I did karting. That was a big thing that I've missed out, which probably leads to it. I did karting, like British Championship and European Championship level from the age of 9. All the way up to 17. I was quite successful in that. So yeah, I always just loved racing. I would say my love for motorsport it's even to this day. I wouldn't say I'm even a super hardcore fan. I'm just a fan of competing against people, no matter what it is, to be honest. So yeah, Formula One game I started playing in 2010. Didn't really play it seriously or anything whatsoever. And then my second year of uni, just to really just pass the time and just when you've got exams and stuff to take the stress off you, I just started playing that and found out, I felt like I was pretty good at it. Then I got approached by the guys at TRL, which is why my name is TRL Limitless, because that was the league that was ORL today or AOR. It was like the biggest league at the time with all the best drivers in. And they asked me to join their league on a Saturday league at like 9 a.m. or something silly like that to do on 2010. So I joined and that was it. Before then, all I ever did was go around in that sprint mode, like 3-lap races. And I didn't even know that there was a custom GP mode where you had to pit for tires for a 25% race. I just had no idea whatsoever. I just played it that casual. But then once I started doing league racing, I just fell in love with it. Just racing against people and just getting better and better. And yeah, getting into YouTube and stuff like that. It was mainly watching people like XMacG, who I'm still very good friends with to this day. People like Noble 2909, AOR Fizzy, doing those highlights and stuff as well. That really motivated me to get to their level, and then also start uploading myself because I didn't see too many people uploading, and I think what I'd be uploading would be quite good and quite entertaining. So yeah, I just wanted to show people of me having fun with it, and yeah, ever since there, it's just been taken more and more seriously. So
Yeah, brilliant. I got to say though, I want to again tread back. So looking back at sports as well. I mean, obviously you say karting. You were very capable, certainly in a kart. What other sports was James Doherty doing back in those days? Was there any ball related sports? Were you a rugby man, a football man, or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely football. Yeah, football. I've always been. It's kind of weird. I was always a really big fan when I was younger, and then once I started doing karting and Formula One, then I really liked watching Formula One. So that kind of died off. But now to this day, I'm a really big football fan again. So
Who's your team?
yeah, I was really at Arsenal.
Oh, Gunner!
It's not a good, yeah, it's not a good team.
Well, you're seeing a rise now, though. I mean, Arteta seems to be bringing them back to some shade of former glory, I think.
Yeah, no, it's Arsenal and stuff at the moment. It kind of reminds me of my races and stuff. So if it goes really bad, it can get better. So
yeah,
it's,
the grass is always greener as such.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, with sports, it was just karting was a huge thing in my life, and then like football and just a quite an active person and stuff really. But yeah, karting was the main thing that got me into liking Formula One, because before doing karting, I never watched Formula One. Wasn't really into it. It was only because I think when you do something yourself, then you really want that's what makes you like the subject. If you're doing it and you're good at it, then that's what makes you want to do it. So yeah, I really did karting, British and European Championship. Did that for like 9 years or something like that. And then when I went to university, I decided to give that up because it's just a lot of money to do. I couldn't do university at the same time. So
it's quite a hot topic, isn't it, at the moment? Money in motorsport. A lot of drivers, capable drivers, not getting the chance in the realms of Formula One, because even at the karting level, you hear the stories of Lewis Hamilton and his father, working extra jobs in order to pay to cover his racing career. I mean, surely looking ahead, the amount of talent that's been wasted over the years, it's a real shame, isn't it? We just don't get to see maybe some rough diamonds that could have come through and really taken Formula One by the horns.
Yeah, I think that is probably my biggest frustration in Formula One, to be honest. Because I think this is one of the only sports in the world where you obviously, if you want to be a world champion, then you've got to be one of the best drivers in the world, no matter what team you're in, no matter how good that team is. Like Lewis Hamilton, a lot of people can say what they want about him, but he's, even for me, probably one of the best drivers ever, no matter what and stuff. So, yeah, I think that's a frustration. And even in karting, like you said, I think you could be probably the best driver, but if you don't have that top level equipment or funding or partnerships and stuff, then you're not going to get noticed and you're not going to go anywhere. I think there's been probably other Lewis Hamiltons who have unfortunately never ever been recognised, who've never got into lower formulas and stuff. And on the flip side, I think there's, annoyingly, I think there's probably some drivers who are there who maybe, no, not down, they're not good drivers, because obviously you have to be good to get there. You can't just put anyone in the car. But I think there's probably maybe some more deserving drivers, I'd say, maybe in Formula One, and maybe some who have got there through, not just by their talent, but other connections and stuff as well. So, yeah, that's the frustrating thing about the motorsport, compared to football and tennis. It's on just mainly just pure ability, because the equipment you have to buy is just a pair of football boots or a racket or something like that. Whereas with this, it's millions of pounds each year if you want to do it. So
a lot of advanced engineering as well in place, which garage work, etc. Yeah, not cheap at all. But obviously now sim racing has come along, and it's another opportunity for drivers that maybe don't get the opportunity or don't have the funding to get into real racing, to actually take this side of it and sort of take the ball and run with it, as per se, sports metaphor. But obviously now we're seeing the quality of esports literally rising up now at the moment. We've got some incredible, I think the position we were in about 3 years ago, where of course Brendan Lee would have won his first title back in 2017 to now, there's obviously no comparison, is there? I mean, the drivers these days, I think they come on leaps and bounds, haven't they?
Yeah, no, esports, and I think the first part of your question, that's why I love it so much, because it just allows people to get involved. And I think that's what made me fall in love with league racing without me realizing it. Because when I I pretty much started doing league racing once I finished karting. Because when I did karting, I never had time to play games or anything like that. And when I finished it, I just replaced that thing that was missing in terms of competition and stuff. So I think that's exactly what esports does. It allows people to compete at the highest level against the best drivers in the world. And I think arguably at times, in esports, they probably make less mistakes than the real F1 drivers and stuff as well. They're on the limit so much more because obviously it being a game, there's not the fear factor of crashing or anything like that. Whereas in real F1, I don't think they'll be pushing absolutely flat out near the limit all the time. I think there's always a lot more potential in their laps. So yeah, I think esports is it's a wonderful thing where it just allows anyone to get into it. Even if you just had a £200 wheel versus an expensive wheel, I think you can get to that level. And being in Dubai for the first esports, where I was there for the first one watching it, and I've been lucky to go to every single one. It's saying that though, I really, really enjoyed that first event, and I think that's probably something that they should probably do in the future. Hopefully, the dream for me is they can actually follow the Formula One calendar and do that. I think that'd be absolutely awesome. But esports, I think the level it's getting to now, mainly because of the drivers involved, such as Jarno and other people and stuff as well. I think everyone is just reaching a new level or hitting their max, and you can see in esports that it's just normally between the top 6, it's like less than a tenth of a second, and the times they're doing as well is pretty outrageous. So I think the level is just absolutely insane at the moment.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And to see some of these guys rise up the way they have, the competitiveness as well, they literally, no stone is unturned with these guys. And we see it here in ORL as well. Obviously, Jana Watmir, I'm on commentary every week. I see it all happen. I'm screaming half the time at half of what goes on track. It's absolutely unbelievable. But I want to go back to 2017, and obviously, like you say, that incredible finale at Abu Dhabi, which you just relayed on, that being one of your more enjoyable experiences. Leading up to that point, your experiences in league racing in the early stages, just how important was that to your development in becoming a driver in esports?
Yeah, I think it was absolutely everything. I think league racing really, really helps, especially the people who are doing esports now. I think every single one of them has done league racing at least in the highest league or the highest level possible before. With me, it's just it's just a very big learning curve. When you first start, I don't think there's anyone who jumps in and just dominates straight away. There's no one who does that, like Brendan Lee, for example, which me and him are good friends. When he first joined league racing, he was in that tier 4, tier 3 of the leagues he was in, and he was using a racing line and ABS and stuff like that. So I think that's a really big motivation, and for people who are watching and stuff as well. And the same for me as well. When I first joined my league, I didn't think I even used manual gears. I used automatic gears, which is just mind blowing to me.
Wow. You've come a long way since then.
I used a far chase cam, automatic gears, ABS, traction, racing line. I literally had the full assist on. So, and same for Brendan. Same for, can't remember, there's someone else recently, not Jana, but there's someone else. There's a lot of drivers who've used that as well. So I think for people wanting to get into esports, don't be afraid to start at that level, because in leagues you can't expect them to be dominating. When I first joined, I was sometimes at the back or midfield most of the time. It took me a good year or even 2 games to be at a point where I thought I could go into a race and actually win it and stuff as well. So I think it's just it's a really, really good experience. It's a tough experience and stuff as well, because obviously if you're really competitive, you really want to do well, like straight away and stuff. And even to me to this day, like I really want to do well and stuff. And sometimes it doesn't go your way, but I think it's a really important thing. And it definitely was for me in terms of qualifying for esports and stuff as well, because to be honest, when I got picked for esports, I only just moved over to the wheel and stuff, and I wasn't really performing at my best at that point in leagues because I just changed to the wheel. But I think it was based off my previous results, what I'd done on leagues before, especially on a controller, and showing what I could do there. And I think without that, I wouldn't have even got a chance into esports, I think, to be honest. So
it's quite incredible how fast you rose then, because obviously, like you say, you just moved onto the wheel. All of a sudden, you're in F1 esports. You got picked in the draft by Renault, if I'm not mistaken, on the first occasion. Talk us through that. What was that like, being in the draft process? Just how nervous were you sitting in that seat, just waiting for your name to be called? I cannot imagine the tension in that Gfinity arena.
Yeah, honestly, that was probably one of the most important weeks of my life, to be honest. It really, I know it sounds quite cheesy, but if I hadn't been picked there, then I don't think I would be managing a team now, or no, obviously would have been driving and stuff as well. Because I feel the level I'm at with the wheel now, it is really good. I think, especially in the race, I think I could do well in the race, but in the qualifying, it's the level that these guys are doing over the lap is just, and qualifying's never been my strongest suit as well. It'd be extremely tough to get in there. But yeah, talking back the pro draft, I think it was a week-long process or something like that. It was like 7 days away, and yeah, I really didn't expect to be picked at all. In the events leading up to it, where they get your score for the pro draft and people can decide there, I felt like I didn't have a huge name in the community or anything, although it might have been a decent following and stuff. I didn't feel like, especially with my recent performances in the past year or 2 years before that, I had been quite inconsistent and stuff as well. But I knew my previous performances, and I think it's the same what you have as well. I think it's just, hopefully people could see my passion for it, my determination to always get better and keep going on, even if something's not going right and stuff as well. So I think, yeah, that week I really wasn't expecting to be picked, although I was with Veloce at the time who did have Sauber. But I knew they had guys with Veloce like Sally, his brother, Matiz and stuff as well. I wouldn't be upset if they got chose over ahead of me, because they were on top of their game at that point, and they did as well. So when they got picked ahead of me, I thought two picks to go. I honestly thought I had no chance. Some people said they thought I would have a chance, but I didn't think I had any chance, because the drivers in there were just so good and a lot faster than me at that point. So yeah, when I got picked by them, it was just pretty unbelievable, to be honest. So yeah, it was a huge thing, because as I said, I think if I hadn't got picked by them, I think on pure pace going into the Challenger Series and stuff like that, it would have been really difficult for me, I think, to be honest. So it was a huge thing.
Yeah, that's massive. And I've got to say, I've got to lead back to the YouTube thing as well. I mean, where did it all really start for you? Like YouTube, what made you or coerced you down that route? I mean, obviously, I'm fascinated to know that. I think many people, I think, in the chat, they always like to look back and see, oh, where did these big YouTubers come from? Where did this originate? Where did this idea stem and blossom, should we say? Talk us through it. Just how did that come about?
Yeah, it's going back to that kind of what I said before. 2010 I played, 2011 I played, but I didn't really start uploading until 2012, or on the 2012 game itself. Started doing my highlights and stuff. And it was mainly because of people like Matty G, and Fizzy Fan and Noble 2909 when they did their highlights. So I used to watch those like religiously, and like study it and everything. And just wanted to, I think of what people like to do with my videos now, or when I race against people, they want to be involved in those videos. So I wanted to be at their level. So I was the one battling them for the wins. I was the one going to be in their highlights and stuff and showcase and stuff as well. So that was the main motivation. But then I decided to do it myself, because I didn't see anyone else really uploading anything else other than them really and stuff. So yeah, I started doing it from 2012, and yeah, I was quite inconsistent from 2012 till probably like 2018-19 game. I never had a schedule or anything. And honestly, again, I never thought I'd hit like 100,000 subscribers or anything whatsoever, because I always had Ben and Arif were always miles ahead of me. And I don't see anyone as a competition, but they started 2 or 3 years before me, and they've always been so consistent, like, can credit to them. And I think from the onset, they wanted to make this their career. I think that's quite obvious. Whereas with me, I had no intention of ever making it a career or anything. So I was very inconsistent, just uploading when I wanted, like once a week or once every 2 weeks or something like that, whenever I had the time. Or after an AOR race, I used to just edit the video and upload it without any commentary. Straight after a race, it get released at midnight or something silly like that and stuff like that. So yeah, with me, it's been a very, very slow grind to where it is now, which I'm honestly so happy with it where it is now. It's gone way beyond my expectations, and I'm just so happy that this amount of people have tuned in, and they still tune in to this day. It's absolutely crazy to me. But I think with my channel, it's been the thing I'm really happy with. I think it's always growing quite organically, like naturally. It hasn't had like huge spikes and stuff. I think the retention to the view to sub ratio is pretty high on my channel. Really high. I think I'm quite a bit higher than other channels. So
you've always seemed to have that steady and consistent incline, haven't you? Going up. It's been quite good. I think in a sense it's probably a good thing, because you tend to get maybe a cult, passionate audience as well that love what you do, which I think is important, isn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. The thing I'm really happy with is, especially the growth of my channel, that I feel like I have a really loyal fan base, and I actually have people who religiously tune in for a live stream each week or send me messages, and who actually support my videos and stuff. Whereas I think on not F1 YouTubers, but like other channels and stuff, people who have 1 million subs and stuff like that you can see that their views are quite low sometimes, and sometimes only high for a certain video and stuff like that. Whereas with mine, it seems to be really consistent and just continually increasing all the time. So I feel like I've actually have a fan base, I guess, like in some way, which I'm just still blown away from. And I just feel like my channel's just always growing quite naturally. It's always been a slow burner, but it's just keeps on going up and up all the time. And now that makes me feel really, really good that people actually enjoy watching the content, not just when the new game comes out and there's just a huge spike for career mode or something like that in the first week or something. It's just league racing videos. They always just seem to do well. My live streams always seem to do well as well. And I'm honestly really, really happy with it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the great thing. I mean, the league racing, you're almost telling a story, aren't you? I suppose so it's basically you're in the car, you're driving, you're looking to get positive result after positive result. It's why the Drive to Survive thing is quite popular, because you get to see the seedy underbelly of Formula One, and also, in a sense, it's sort of like, oh, JD's driving a car in a league race. How's he getting on? Let's go support our man in the Alfa Romeo. But honestly, going forward, I want to obviously look at your plans for YouTube, because you've just hit 150,000 subs. It wasn't long ago, was it? It was literally in the space of the last few months that you smashed it and got past that line. Again, I see that numbers on the increase, which is great to see. What can we expect from TRL Limitless in terms of YouTube in the many years to come?
Yeah, with YouTube, I think with me, and there's something a bit different from maybe other creators and stuff as well, like in YouTube. For me, it's something I just enjoy doing, to be honest. Obviously, it is part of my job now and stuff as well, but it's not my main job. My main job is to work with Veloce and manage the esports team or everything in esports. This is just something that also benefits me, but it's something I just love doing, to be honest. So the plan is to, I don't have a set number or a set goal or anything whatsoever. That goal's already been reached for me, to be honest, with the 100K. That was something I never, ever believed. Even 2 years ago when I hit, I don't know, 30 or 40 or something like that, I never thought it would be possible. So for me, pretty much it's just going to be exactly the same. Plan to do 2 live streams a week, 2 or 3 videos a week, and just keep it going, because I feel one thing that's really important with YouTube is that you don't do too much content and stuff as well, and you don't try and throw too much content in people's faces where you're just trying to make it obvious you're just trying to bring content out just for the sake of content. It's like what you said with the live streaming and stuff as well. I just want to show people like my journey and stuff as well. And with live streaming, I think, as you know, it's one of the most fun things, but it's also one of the hardest things to do as well, because
I find
in real life.
I find it more fun. You get to interact with the audience on a live level, and trust me, they get
And
to
you're
pull me up on my
driving.
blood. Like when I called the lap early, called the race early, a lap early at Hungary. That was good. So a lot of people in the chat seem to like that. So yeah, but honestly, yeah, like going back to what you were saying, it is a passion at the end of the day to do YouTube, and I totally agree with you about content. I think you can be guilty of throwing out, if you're not careful, a lot of YouTube content which potentially could be maybe in the long term damaging rather than helpful, because it doesn't help your image, does it? Really?
No, I think for me on YouTube, and I think some people could do this as well. I think for me, I always just try and be really different from anyone else. So I try not to upload every day. I try and do a lot of live streams. Even to that, I think although I've just changed it now, but like my thumbnails were just literally just a screenshot of the gameplay and stuff like that, just keeping it really simple, minimalistic, and like even when I did the way I do the commentary and stuff as well, I think it's probably changed a little bit throughout the years as well. But most of the time, I try and just talk just talk about my thoughts during the race rather than try and be acting like I'm a commentator throughout the whole time and stuff, like just save it for particular moments and stuff. So yeah, it's been interesting. Yeah.
CRG Chris likes your new thumbnails as well. So good job. Good job.
Right.
Good job. Yeah. So obviously now I'm going to address the elephant in the room. ORL obviously plastered all over this this stream. Obviously here today. We obviously know you're Jarno's engineer in ORL. Just talk about the experiences of Sunday evenings and sort of managing an ORL race. I think everyone wants to really know your opinions as to what you think of the ORL team as a whole, and obviously the way ORL has been conducting itself as a league. Just unleash your thoughts. Give it to us.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, I think ORL is probably quite easily the best league right now. Not just saying that. No, with yourself and Jack, and I think what other leagues can learn from is that you're not just trying to make it too commercialized or anything at all. You're about having the passion for it, and it's all about the drivers and stuff as well. Like what you do, exactly what you're doing here and stuff as well. Like the passion with full racing and stuff. I think it's definitely the huge thing from that. So I think if you continue doing that, then you can really build a seriously big community and stuff if you keep doing that. But yeah, with Jarno, it's a lot of fun. Probably a lot less stressful than it is for esports. It's just a lot.
I don't know. He looked a bit touchy at Hungary when he did that mysterious spin behind the safety car.
Oh yeah, that was a glitch. But yeah, and Sundays, it's good fun and stuff as well. And I think you can tell he really enjoys it and stuff, where he can just blow off some steam. And I know he takes it really serious still and stuff as well. But
which is good.
Yeah, no, exactly. But yeah, for me, it's really, really good. Because I think it's just so much easier. And I think a lot of people say this when I do my streams and stuff as well, like, oh, why don't you make that decision and stuff? But I think even for him, hopefully he would say that as well. Like there's been some moments where he wanted to go a certain direction or he didn't think of something. I think just having someone watch over you who can just see everything that's going on in the track map or everyone around you and stuff as well. I think as good as you are, just having that extra pair of eyes can make a difference in the race, like 100%. So it's quite interesting for me because I learned some things as well whilst I'm doing it. And obviously watching him, who's probably, I would say probably is one of the best drivers, definitely top 2 or 3 drivers on the game for sure at the moment. So yeah, it's a bit of a lesson like when you do it at that point, but it's good to see.
Yeah, no, I did have a cheeky chat with Tom Deacon before the start of the Pro Series, and he sort of, to be fair, it was quite odd. He sort of dropped into my DMs on Twitter and sort of said, well done on the Brazil broadcast. It was at the start of the season, and wanted to gauge thoughts and feelings going into the Pro Series, I think. And obviously, Jarno was my hat tip going into the start of the season. Of course, we've seen his domination over the course of ORL, and it's without question, in my eyes, he was going to be a huge superstar in F1 Esports this year. Obviously, he must be delighted after winning the ORL Championship, but his performance in F1 Esports has been astonishing. Obviously, he's had a couple of tricky results, maybe not go his way, but in the grander scheme of things, he has been sensational, absolutely sensational. Just talk us through the rise for him in esports, because last year I know he was in Renault, maybe didn't quite hit the heights he wanted to, but this season it looks like he's got it under his belt.
Yeah, with Jarno, he's one of the best drivers I've ever seen. Not when I was at Renault, obviously I was a driver there for the first year, and then got to be the manager for the next year afterwards. And when we were talking about who to bring in, he was someone I saw. I think he was doing ORL at the same point as well, and other leagues. I could just tell by his determination that he really wanted to succeed. And he did some really, really special performances. And I could just tell he had that hunger for it, for sure. And obviously him being at Renault before and stuff as well, that would have been a really good story. So when I mentioned it to them, they said, no, that's great. So bring him in. And we did the trial with him and another 10 other drivers as well. So there's quite a few other drivers involved. And he came out on top.
So it's like quite an in-depth process then you guys go through in selecting a driver.
Yeah, no, we had a whole day dedicated to it, where we flew everyone in to Renault at Enstone to do it and stuff as well with our selection. And no, he came out on top quite comfortably in that trial. Just with not only just his pace, but I think in terms of his attitude for esports and just racing, you couldn't really wish for a better attitude than what he's got. Because I think you can tell now he's, as I said, he's just got that motivation no matter what, to always succeed. So yeah, in the first year at Renault, I think we definitely saw glimpses of his his full potential, especially at that Hockenheim where he got the pole and got the win with that reverse strategy, which he loves to do. He's got the raw speeds and the overtaking ability to drive through the field. And I think the one thing about him that separates himself from a lot of other people is that I think he just really believes in himself. He doesn't really have a fear of any other driver. If someone's going faster than him, he's just like, oh, okay, we need to find what the setup is. So I go faster and stuff like that. It's not about driving ability for him. It's about something he's missed in the game, or just needs a bit more practice and stuff like that. Like it's not an arrogance. It's just a pure confidence, I think. And I think that's why he's gone where he is now, because I think after Renault, moving with me to Sauber with Danny, having that year experience as well, I think he was always approaching this game that he's going to be the best driver no matter what. That's the sense I got from him. Before the game came out, he couldn't wait to get on it. And ever since it came out, I think his only goal was to be the best driver. And I think he's probably done that at this point so far in the season. And yeah, this season, he's been, obviously he's leading the championship. So I think he's been probably the class of the fields. His results have been absolutely incredible. Just the ability to perform under pressure, I think, is one of the biggest things about him as well. When it looks like it's going against him and stuff, he always seems to just perform at his best. He doesn't really crumble under that pressure. Has had a few moments in the last round where it didn't go his way, but to be honest, I think everyone has that. Everyone has that, like in real F1, like Lewis Hamilton, or even the Red Bull drivers this season and stuff as well. They've had things where they've invalidated the key points and stuff, and I think you've got to expect it, to be honest. With this level of competition, it's although he's very good at dealing with pressure, like there's going to be points where sometimes it does get to you, or you just push a little bit too hard to try and make up a deficit or something like that. So I think this season he should be really, really proud of himself, and I think he's, especially from last year, he's just someone who, I think he's only 20 years old as well, or 21, and I think he's just going to get better and better as well, to be honest. So it's going to be pretty exciting for the future.
Yeah, I mean, his progression's been phenomenal, and he always speaks so well in the interviews that we do after an ORL, because you can pretty much guarantee you're going to get an incredibly informative conversation out of Jarno. He could talk you through almost like lap by lap as to what he was doing. He is just that articulate, which is superb to see. And again, like you said, it's almost like the whole package that he's now got. I remember him saying at the start, I think it was like one of the first, the first three races, we had an interview, and he said, I definitely feel like a more complete driver, he was saying. And it always stuck with me, that final point. And that attitude does certainly aid you when it comes to winning world titles, races, whatever it may be. I want to talk as well about the constructor standings because, of course, that's the vital one. I understand, obviously, the prize money that's given to the teams at the end of esports is obviously for the constructor as opposed to the drivers. How do you rate the Alfa Romeo situation at the moment in terms of the constructor standings? At the moment, of course, Red Bull on top spot. The current gap is, I believe, around 23 or 22 points. I think is the separation at the moment.
Yeah, the gap's 32 points at the moment.
32, sorry,
yeah, going into the last round. For us as a season, it's been a lot of positives, but also a lot of moments where we could have capitalized a lot better. I think in the first event, it was almost a perfect event, a 1-2 first race. Can't get any better than that. And with a fastest lap as well, so maximum points. That was a great start. And I think this season, for both drivers as well, it's been the case where Red Bull have always been quite consistent all the time. I don't think they finished any lower than 7th with both drivers. No, I think their worst results have been like 6th and 7th in the race. But I think the difference between them and us is that I think in qualifying trim, they are probably the fastest team. They've definitely got, might not even be set up, but just the way they're driving and stuff as well. They got that confidence in the quali and stuff like that. And they're getting the job done because of full qualifying this year. The brand new format is just, especially with this other competition, that no one's going to go through on mediums.
No,
so
no. No, not at all.
No, so yeah, and part firmware's off anyway. But yeah, it's the competition is just, it's mental. If you look at their Q1 time, the cutoff, if you compare it to like my leagues I'm in on Xbox or other leagues, that'll probably be the pole time. So the times they're doing just to get through is absolutely mental. It's absolutely insane. But I think for us as a season, it's been Jarno has been very consistent, very, very consistent. With Danny, I think I know how it feels when you're doing racing and when people see you at a certain level, they expect you to always be hitting that level. Especially when you live stream or when you're competing in F1 esports, it can be brutal, especially comments and stuff like that as well. It's really, really tough, and that's something you just have to take when you're competing this level. With him, I think in raw speed, I don't think I've seen anyone faster on the Formula One game. I think when he is driving his absolute best and everything feels great, I think Jarno's even said this as well when we discussed it. Like, I think he's even faster than Jarno. I think he's faster than Rasmussen. He's got the most poles in F1 esports history. And I think even this season, he's actually led the second most laps still, which is pretty crazy.
Incredible.
So, yeah, I think with him, it's just been the case of, in the event one, Hanoi got knocked out in Q1. Just an invalidation in his last lap, pure and simple. It wouldn't have been he wouldn't have easily got through, but I think it would have been enough to get through. And I think the same thing happened at Monza as well, just in our past event. So yeah, it's just been the case where it seems to be one of our drivers is doing awesome in the race or winning or getting a podium. And then when that person's not doing well, then the other one then takes over, but then that other one doesn't do well. So the only event where we've had both drivers within 2 or 3 positions of each other is only the first event, round 1 and 3. Other than that, it's been an average gap of 5 to 6 positions. So Red Bull, they've been able to capitalize on that. When one of our drivers isn't doing well, both of their drivers seem to do pretty good, really good. It's just a case of they've just been more consistent at this point. That's purely what it is. I think in the race, we are the fastest team with the strategies and stuff we do as well. But I think sometimes it's really hard to beat them in the race. I think that Spa was a good example of that, where you only have one driver up there. Though Danny did, in the first 2 rounds of last event, he did fantastic, getting the podiums he did and everything as well. When they're working together, it's so hard. And same with Austria and stuff as well, when the Red Bulls were using their ERS and stuff as well. So I think if we have both drivers up there, I think the qualifying is definitely, for us going to the last event, that really is our priority, to be honest, with the quali. Just if we can find an extra 10th, then an extra 10th would get you in like the front row or something like that. So yeah, if we can just have both drivers up there, because Silverstone, we had P11, P17 on the grid. Jarno get knocked out in Q1, which is, you'd never think Jarno Otmir could be knocked out in Q1. And Red Bull starting P1, P3. Now, and we still outscored them that race. It's just pretty unbelievable. So I think if each one of them could just be doing 8 out of 10 each time, or just have that consistency the whole time, I think it would honestly probably be very level on points right now, maybe even ahead. It's just the case that Red Bull have capitalized when we haven't been consistent. And then when we have been consistent, they've been consistent too as well. Or the Monza race that we just did, that was their worst race result of the season. But Beresne unfortunately couldn't get into the points because he got damaged at the start. Jarno couldn't quite get that win, so we did outscore them. But if we had both drivers in there, it could have been a much more damaging to them. When they come in 6th or 7th. So that's what we need into this last event. We need both drivers to just give it everything they've got. We've already secured P2 in the constructors, which is a great thing for us. So there's nothing to look behind on. And so all we've got to do now is the pressure's got to be on Red Bull. So if they are watching this, I think they know that there's going to be pressure on them and stuff as well. But no, we just need to hope that we just need to perform at our best to start off with, and then if they are not as consistent as they have been, which they have shown in a few races like Hanoi and Monza, for example, which again, only one of our drivers was in the points in those races. Now, if we had both drivers in the points, it would have been, in those races, a 20-point swing. It would have been nothing in it. So that's what we need going to the last event. But overall, it's been up and down. But most of all, I think it's been positive most of the time.
Yeah, but it's all led up now to this grand finale in 18 days' time. We're going to be seeing, obviously, the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo team. It's all going to come down to the last event, which is really exciting to see. It's what the viewers want to see as well, I think. A straight fight between Freddie and Jarno, and of course Marcel, and the team in general, Danny Beresne as well. It's going to be absolutely thrilling to see. Obviously, moving on from that, I wanted to obviously take a look at the future of esports. I mean, of course, we've been under a coronavirus period, which has been hampering the world to date. Obviously, not a scenario we were hoping to be in. But I suppose on the other side of that, esports has had the opportunity to rise. In fact, because what other options are there for sport in the world right now? Just talk us through just how much do you think esports has benefited from the past year or so?
Yeah, I think esports has benefited massively from this thing. I think obviously it's been a very bad year for everyone, but I think the only light you can see, especially for our community, is that league racing or like online virtual racing and sim racing and esports has been a huge thing, because a lot of people have been collaborating, getting involved in it, seeing the appeal of it and everything as well. And I think it's just given it a new light, really. I think it's just given it what I said before about how accessible it is to be involved in it. Whereas in real Formula One, you can't be involved in it unless you've got the talent or the money to do it. But in real, in esports, it's just allows anyone to get in it. Like anyone who's 16, if they're good enough, they can go for the Challenger Series. If they dominate that, then they go get in probably a team, and they can make a career in it. It's as simple as that. So yeah, I think out of all the good things, I think the rise of it, the community, and just so many different people being involved in it as well. I think it's without that, it definitely wouldn't have grown as much as it is. And I think as well, it's so important that esports continued this year. If they postponed it completely, then I think it really, really kind of killed its momentum that it was building and stuff as well. So for it to actually be put online, and Gfinity and Codemasters, credit to them to actually putting it all together, because it's, I can tell you from esports perspective, it's not an easy thing to do, and not everything's perfect and stuff as well, but you can't really expect it to be as well with having 20 people in the lobby and an esports level at this magnitude as well. It's not easy. So I think, the good thing is that the momentum has just been really increased. And I think it's just been a lot more appealing to a lot of people now. So hopefully in future it can just continue.
Yeah, no, it'd be great to see. Obviously, it rise and continue, and like you say, it obviously needed to keep going. Obviously, in the state that the world is in. I wanted to look as well at your driving career. I know that obviously you're a very active league racer still at the moment. As we see the streams very regularly, and it's superb to see. Obviously, I tune in from time to time, give you a little bit of support here and there as well, just to try and help you along. Are we going to be seeing TRL Limitless in ORL next season? Because little birdie's been telling me that I could be commentating on James Doherty next season.
Yeah, I think that'd be the plan. Yeah, with me, it's just a case of, I think a lot of people will... Yeah, it's done. Yeah, with me, it's I've always played the next box because it's been where most of my friends are. That's why I start my league racing and stuff as well. But to be brutally honest, it's just because I'm just technically and stuff as well. I just don't want to change things around and stuff as well. So I think the plan is next year, when I upgrade my PC, moving house and stuff as well, where I can just start off completely fresh. My goal is to have a play. I do have a PlayStation at the moment, so I can use Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. But I think the thing that stopped me as well is that I don't know. A lot of people might not have the opportunity, but playing between the different platforms is a very different experience. Not just because of who you're playing with, but the game feels very, very different. The physics of the game feel very different. The setups you have to use are very different. It's really not comparable. I see a lot of people always have these debates and stuff online about the PS4 or Xbox, or who's the fastest driver or whatever. Like, they're all awesome drivers. It's not very comparable. It's like the frames used and stuff as well. It makes a really, really big difference. But I think, yeah, next season, I think me and Jan have already discussed we'd like to be in the team together next season, which would be pretty cool for ORL. So fingers crossed. I think hopefully, don't know when the next season for you guys start, but I think by January or February, it'd be good to do probably one league on PC and one league on Xbox. That's the plan to do, because I think a lot of people want to see me against, although it's very competitive in Xbox and stuff as well, against the pretty much an esports level kind of competition and stuff as well, which I think qualifying is going to be quite brutal for me, I think.
But I'll be gentle, I swear.
But to be honest, though, I think it will help me as well. I think it will help me even improve and stuff even more, because I think no matter how good you are and stuff, you can always improve. Everyone has their weaknesses and stuff as well. So I think it'd be entertaining for people to see that, and I think that's definitely something I want to do, because when I live stream or when I do a video, it's the beauty of it is that you see you at your worst and you see you at your best as well. There's no in between. You don't get to sugarcoat it or cherry pick the ones you want to see. When it's live, it's live. Like, if you make a mistake and you see the emotion and stuff like that, then that's what happens. As horrible it is for me sometimes, and as good as it is for me at times as well, I think that's what people want to see. So, and I think that's what I love about it as well. So, yeah, hopefully next season. So,
it's those little things though that make the viewers want to watch, though, isn't it? I think the blunders are just as good as the positives. I got to say, I've had my fair share of blunders, so I'm right with you on that. I have to say, I got to say, Jack's corrected me a few times where I've made the odd honest mistake, but it's just the way things go. Obviously now with Sauber, progressions for the future as well. Like you said, ORL currently developing some of the great drivers that we can see in the future. Is there anyone you can see in ORL that has really caught your eye? Because there's quite a few young up-and-coming talents coming through. Of course, you've got that young Nicholas Matteo, who is in the other Alpha seat at this moment in time with Jarno as a teammate.
Yep.
And many others who have really been impressive. We've just seen, of course, Mattis, who's just become part of the Alfa Romeo development team as well. What are your plans in terms of development in esports? Because it's quite a funny topic. Not a lot of people really know what that's all about. But if you could obviously explain, it would be superb.
Yeah, no, I think the people you mentioned, like Matteo and Matthias and stuff as well. I think there's so many that we were just discussing before we came on and stuff. There's so many super young drivers who, I wish I had their level of ability where they're at their age, because they didn't get to their level of ability until it's like early 20s, something like that. So for them to get it before they're even 16, 17 is what a future they've got ahead of them as well if they keep it up. But I think with us, and especially the team I manage at Sauber, it's not always about the speed all the time. Obviously, they need to have a certain level of speed, but I think like with Jarno, and the reason why I brought him on at Renault and stuff those 2 years ago was you've got to just see the potential in someone. And I think if they've got the right attitude, that's the main thing. The mentality as well, I think, is the main thing. Be able to deal under pressure and be able to take criticism and stuff as well, and always wanting to learn and just be quite humble the way you approach things. I think if you go into some things with a bit of arrogance when you haven't been able to perform at that level consistently, then that can only really stop you from developing even further. So I think with us at Sauber and what I do and stuff as well, I always try and look for people who are very, very honest with themselves and who really want to learn and are really, really motivated to play the game. So I think, Matthias, Ethan, Revo as well, who's on PCs and one of our development drivers. You obviously got people like Tomek and Josh Idaho and stuff as well.
Fellow countrymen of mine as well.
Yeah. So they've got he's one of the most talented people I've ever seen play an F1 game, to be honest. He just needs to have the more time and a bit more experience and the motivation to really step it up to that next level. So there's a lot of really good people out there.
Yeah, it's superb to see. We're just going to take a look as well, folks. Obviously, you've been ploughing your questions in for James as well. Hopefully, we'll just pick a few, because obviously we received quite a stream of them in the last day or so. I know that you've had a few on your Twitter as well, James. But I just want to, certainly one of the key ones here, FRA Vivid. You had a question, Jerry Fandre, I think that's your name, at Jerry Fandre. Questions for the GOAT JD. What's the most enjoyable thing about managing an esports team? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Have you ever thought about getting back into karting? Not rentals, the real karts.
Yeah, the best thing about being in esports is that I'm doing something I love doing. I'm involved in a job that I absolutely have a passion for. I think there's not too many people that can say that they're in a job that they really, really enjoy doing. I think a lot of people are doing jobs because they have to be in a job and stuff. Like I was before I did this, before I went on full time with this, I was a pensions administrator. So it's a very, very different thing. Nothing to do with motorsport or anything whatsoever.
Handy to know numbers, though.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the technical thing. But with this, it's being able to be involved in this community every day and be able to have an impact in esports in some way or another, which I've always wanted to do, is and getting to work with the best drivers and getting to just do what you love. I love doing this. So waking up, it doesn't really feel like a job to me, to be honest. It's something I feel like I'm always on holiday or something, because I'm just always doing something I would be doing on my spare time anyway, all the time. So doing that is something I will hopefully never take for granted and stuff as well. Absolutely love it. But in terms of the next 5-10 years, it's a little bit away, but I think continuing to do what I'm doing now, hopefully, because I absolutely love managing this team. I'm learning things all the time as well, so I'm always improving myself in terms of what I can bring to the table and stuff as well. So hopefully I can keep doing that for the long distant future. And then if I was to do something after that, it would be probably working, maybe controlling F1 esports, or really kind of deciding of how it's been run and stuff as well, and everything. That's, if I could have a voice in that, or be one of those people, like Adam Masters, if people know who he is and stuff like that, and having something like that where you get to decide the format and everything like that, I think that'd be awesome for me to do that. But I think that's a long way.
I'll slide my show reel into your DMs then at some point.
You can be the commentator, yeah.
Yes, you heard it. Screen grab that, folks. Another question here from Lewis. Lewis 7266745. Yeah, I read all that through. He said, how do you prepare for an F1 esports weekend?
An F1 esports weekend. well, it is done on a Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, I think
So
he means the race weekend. I think as such, yeah. Bit of a strange weekend of it midweek.
But yeah, the way we prepare for an event is the way we do it with our drivers and stuff as well. It's something like I always describe as an analogy, which is cheesy and stuff as well. But I think it's like training in the gym, like working on muscle and stuff like that. I think it's really important to not burn yourself out. To making sure you're doing the right amount of frequency. So obviously playing the game enough and doing the right amount throughout the day and stuff as well. But making sure that you kind of peak that intensity when it actually matters. Because I think if you go a bit intense too early and stuff, and you're just playing 8 hours a day, which I don't know if people do or not, stuff I used to do. I used to do league racing and stuff, but I think if you do that, you can really burn yourself out really, very quickly and demotivate yourself. So the way I approach it with the drivers is that obviously between events, it's been quite quick between some events, but before the first event and this last event where we have a lot of time, the days after the one before, we kind of take off completely. And then we just discuss how we want to approach it and stuff. And basically we do it almost every day. But sometimes we have rest days and stuff as well, normally on weekends and stuff. And we just decide when we're there and then what do we feel most uncomfortable with, and we do that. That's pretty much what we do, and I think it's important for my role as well. I think a lot of maybe other people in the same position would try and make it so, oh no, we have to do this exactly this and that day. I think it's really important that you actually listen to your drivers and players as well, because they're the ones that are playing, and they're the ones that are feeling what they're feeling. So the way we approach it is that we're quite flexible in terms of what we do on the day, but we're quite strict on when we actually do it and making sure that we don't overplay too much at certain periods. And if we feel we need a day off, then we'll just go take a day off. And yeah, just really constantly reminding them that no, we need to do this minimum amount, but also not too much where you actually burn yourself out as well.
Well, I totally agree. I think obviously it's just as strenuous behind an esports rig sometimes, even just the same in its own way to real Formula One. I mean, obviously you don't have the G-force, but still, it's a lot of pressure to keep the intensity level up through that series of laps. So I've got to say it's a testament to the driver quality. One final question, I think, and this one's actually in the live chat, and I think it's a real nice way to sort of end this podcast. It's a real nice question. What's the best advice you can give to a young driver who wants to make it in esports one day?
Yeah, best advice I can give to a young driver is just to have the patience. To be honest, I think, as I said before, I think you can't expect to arrive on the scene and beat Yana Wapmir and stuff like that, or anyone else like that. It's really, really hard to do that. So I think having the patience and just the motivation as well, and the discipline as well, I think it's really important. I think too many people get into it very quickly and they reach a really, really high level very quickly. But, when they get some good results and then they get some bad results, that motivation kind of dies off and they're like, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like what I've been doing the whole time, I think you've just got to just keep plugging away and just stay true to yourself and be patient and realize that you're going to have some really good moments and really bad moments. Same as like you have in life as well. So you just got to, like the journey I've had from my league racing, I've had some really, really big highs and really big lows. And then it's like a roller coaster and stuff as well. So I think you just got to believe in yourself. But patience and time is the biggest thing, because it's not going to be overnight where you get to these guys' levels. I think you just got to be inspired by those people who you think are really good in F1, who are good role models. Just try and aspire to be like them, the same mentality they have, and try and transfer that into you. So just have the patience and belief in yourself. And if you do that and you have the ability, then you'll definitely get there.
Superb. Well, James, I'd like to thank you ever so much. We're right on the 11 o'clock hour, which is absolutely perfect. Thank you ever so much for spending time with us this morning. It's been a real education, learning from yourself as to how you got to this point and and obviously esports as a whole. It's tremendous to see. I hope everyone in the live chat enjoyed that as well. And you can catch JD, of course, on his channel, TRL Limitless. Make sure you drop him a subscribe. He deserves it, trust me. And don't forget as well to drop us at ORL like and a subscribe to this video and the channel as well. But obviously, lots to look forward to now in the future. James is going to be driving an ORL hopefully next season, so I look forward to that. I certainly will, and I'm sure Jack will as well. And yeah, can't wait. And of course, we'd like to wish you as well, James, the very best of luck for the grand finale in F1 Esports as well.
Yep. No, thank you so much for having me. It's been absolute joy. It's been a pleasure with the passion that you have as well. I really know that you're going to succeed in the future, and the ORL next season will be awesome. And so no, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, James. Thank you. Well, folks, it's been a pleasure. And like I said, please like all the socials. Check them out. You can check us out all on Twitter as well. TRL Limitless on Twitter as well. So we'll see you guys very, very soon. Don't forget, Russian Grand Prix tomorrow. So pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go.